there are a couple things that I missed while YCS Bologna happened, mainly new cards that came out that I want to read because I have purposely not read any of them yet. So we are going to, you know, do that now to let you guys know what I think of these cards. We have a card that looks very close to Underworld Goddess. So I suppose if it like this is, I'm expecting like Underworld Goddess support somehow. Like Moon of the Closed Sky is what it's called, apparently. Moon of the Closed Sky, yeah. It's a Link 2 Light Fiend, and it requires 2 effect monsters. You can only use the effect of this card's name once per turn. You can target one face-up monster, one face-up opponent's monster this card points to. This turn, if you Link summon a Link 5 monster using this card you control as material, you can also use that opponent's monster as material. Okay, so it's kind of like a combination of Underworld Goddess support and what's it called? Like a little, like it reminds me of Relinquished Anima, right? Because if your opponent doesn't play around the zones, you can like you can do this, right? The thing is, it's a lot harder to play around this card's zones because it has 2 that it points to, right? It points upwards and to the side. So like if you put it in the right extra monster zone, it points to like if you label their extra monster zones 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you put it in your right EMZ, it would point to their number 4 and 5. And if you put it in your left, it points to their 2 and 3. So theoretically, it covers 4 of their zones. However, I mean, obviously, having to summon a Link 5 monster is a tough ask. There's not many Link 5s in the game even that you really even summon. If this was a dark monster, I think it could be a card you would consider for Dragon Link, because you could make Warland with it after being locked by Rocket Tracer, right? That is something I could see if that was a thing, right? You can also, I'm pretty sure you can combine it with Underworld Goddess summoning condition, right? So, I mean, that's clearly the point. So I would be surprised if it didn't work like that. But I'm pretty sure if you use this card, you can then use 2 of your opponent's monsters to you can use 2 opponent's monsters to make Goddess, right? And if one of their monsters is a Link 2, right? If one of their monsters is a Link 2 monster, you can make Goddess just with this card, right? You can make Goddess just with this card if your opponent has a Link 2 monster on the board. I think... No? Oh, Goddess needs 4. Okay, well then I chatted. I thought Goddess was 3+. Okay, Goddess is 4, so you still need 1 other monster, I guess. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad card per se, because like the ability to link with your opponent's monsters is simply not a bad thing. Like there's nothing bad about this card, right? Like the question is simply, is this going to be worth an extra deck slot? Because I mean, if I'm thinking of most decks in the game right now, I feel like the extra deck is very, very tight, right? And while this, I mean, the utility behind this card is good, you know, sometimes it's going to come up. The question is it going to come up often enough for you to spend an extra deck space on it? And I think the answer to that is probably no in most decks, right? Probably, you know, probably not, but, you know, who knows, maybe. It would have to be a deck that has a lot of space in the extra deck though, but then I could see it. But like it's not a terrible card. It's just the question is it good enough, right? But yeah, interesting mechanic though. I think it's a cool mechanic if anything. The Fire King Queen is here. Now this one is scary. I haven't read it yet, but when I saw this morning that they made another Fire King card, I was immediately like, god damn, the Fire King cards are already pretty good. I mean, the deck already performed at YCS Bologna, which was even more impressive because the deck isn't even at full power yet. And in the OCG, it's already, I want to say, top 2 meta. Like, it's between Fire King and Rescue Ace, Sinful Spoils, pretty much. And they're getting more support. I think that is scary. If this card is good, we might be looking... I mean, freaking fire support, man. They just don't stop. They just don't stop printing crazy fire support apparently. So let's see if this one is one of those. Fire King Consort Ulcanix. It's a winged beast, so it's not searchable by Tenki. That's important to note. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn each. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can destroy one other fire monster in your hand or face-up field, and if you do, add one fire, beast, beast warrior, or winged beast from your deck to your hand. Then you can make the level of this card become the level of that monster you added. If this card is destroyed and sent... What? Wait, okay, which one? You summon a Fire King High Avatar Garunic from your deck. Which one is that? Is that the old one or the new one? Like the broken one? Oh, it's the old one. Okay, it's the old one. All right. Calm down. The first part is insane, because this is literally just like another Fire King Island, right? This is just another copy of Fire King Island, basically. So it's no longer a once per turn thing. It's a 2 per turn thing. The second effect, I'm not sure if you're going to be using this effect, because to be clear, the old Garunics, it's not a terrible card because it can blow up your opponent's entire board. Like, it's not awful, but I mean, they are not playing this card for good reason, right? Currently, before this card, no one is playing the High Avatar Garunics, because I mean, it's not as bad as like 2005 era cards, but it's not a very you know, not a very good card. But the fact that, I mean, the first effect almost honestly is good enough for this, like almost. I mean, not just all, maybe probably is good enough. Like, the first effect is just another effect of Fire King Island. Like, it's a consistency card and an extender, because you get more, like, that card's great. That card I think that card is good. Whether they play 1 because they search it sometimes, or whether they play 3 remains up to be seen, but that's a good card for sure. That's a very good card, I think. You can already play 9 Fire King Island. You can, but you can still only use them once per turn, right? Like, that's what I mean when I say it's not only consistency but also extension, because it makes it so you can use that effect twice per turn, not just once, because Fire King Island is a hard once per turn, so no matter how many you play, you can only resolve that effect once per turn, and this one lets you do it another time. And then the level modulation is also pretty good, because you can just make level rank 8s with it, right? And it's even optional. You don't have to do it, so you have the option to keep it level 4 to make your rank 4 plays. You can make it level 8 if you search the big Kirin or the big Garunix, the new one. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. I think that's a good card. Like, no questions asked. I think that's powerful. The question is, how do you incorporate this into the existing combos? Because the existing Snake Eye Fire King combos have already been kind of labbed out. And now you get this extra step in between somewhere, right? But like, I don't think it's too broken or anything like that, but I think it's a good card, like, no questions asked, like, for sure. Okay, that's that. We have full armored Hope Ray Lancer. Does this belong to these the guys we got in Age of Overlord? These shark thingies, the armor XCs, whatever? Is it part of those? Yes? Okay. Because what did we have? We had like it was a rank 3 into a rank 5 into a rank 6 or 7, right? And now they're putting a rank 4 in between. So let me read it. Once per turn, you can also Xyz summon this thing by discarding a spell and trap and using a rank 4 or lower Xyz monster you control. Transfer its material to this card. Monsters your opponent control lose 500 attack. Once per battle phase, at the start of the battle phase, you can negate the effects of all attack position monsters your opponent controls. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can detach one material from this card. It can make a second attack in a row. I believe the most interesting part about this card is that it is a 4-material Zeus. I think the first one. I think this is the first 4-material Zeus on rank 4 Xyz monsters, right? That's just generic, right? Which is interesting, to say the least. However, you have to discard a spell trap, which is, you know, Chakanite. Well, no, I mean like a downward magician that can go on every rank 4. Like, I don't have to make a Zodiac to make the Zeus. I can make any rank 4 Xyz in my deck, and then I can just make anything on top of that. Like, I know Merrymaker and Sargas exist, for example, the Springans dude, but like, this is like a downer that can go on any rank 4, right? That's what I mean. Like, not, you know, right? Of course, discarding a spell trap is a respectable cost, you know, you have to realize that, but I think if you play like a rank 4 focused deck, instead of playing like multiple Zodiacs to go into a big Zeus, you could consider playing just this one card, right? Doesn't the rank 3 search? Yeah, it has more synergy with the things that already exist. The what's it called? The full armor Xyz line. But that's a rank 3 thing, right? That's a rank 3, and rank 3s already technically have a big Zeus because of Downerd, right? Right, and that's this can go on rank 4 or lower. That is true, but that's nothing special because for rank 1, 2, 3, there's already options like this, right? There's already options like this. Making any Xyz into effectively a 3k is nice. Yeah, I mean, you can, if you make a rank 4 that's not as strong, and then you summon this on top of it, because you can do it before the battle phase even. It's 2500, monsters your opponent controls lose 500. So you gain, you basically, you know, and you have the second effect's also not bad. I mean, my opinion on this is kind of the same as my opinion on the full armor cards. Like, the full armor cards are also not bad. And it's actually the same as my opinion on this thing. These are utility cards. I can see situations where they would come up. The question is simply in this, like, I mean, at the time we get this, it's going to be 2024. How many decks are going to be able to afford putting one of these cards into their extra deck? Because the extra decks are usually relatively tight. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just that this card is, I don't think it's going to be like a staple card in many decks. Like, it's just like, keep it in the back of your head, I guess, because some decks might want it if they have the space for it. But especially if you look at the entire full armor package, you're looking at like an engine that's like 3, 4, what is it now? 4 slots in the extra deck alone. That's tough. That's a tough thing to do in this current day and age of the game. Oh yeah. And then we have a new archetype, I believe. A new archetype of dope looking dragons. Or Dragions, because it apparently has something to do with Trident Dragon. That's interesting. We have Tenpai Dragon by Dora, level 3 fire dragon effect monster. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is normal or special, you can take a Bright Fleet spell trap from your deck and either add it to your hand or set it. You take no battle damage from battles involving your fire dragon monsters. Once per turn, during the battle phase, you can quick effect immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon using this card you control. Okay. This is not a tuner, unless the translation is incorrect, but judging from the amount of words on this thing, I don't think it's a tuner. Is this the first time that we have a quick synchro effect on something that isn't a tuner? I can't think of another card. Maybe there is one. But that's funny. I mean, what funny? Like, I don't know if there's other. I can't think of another non-tuner that have that. Yangzings have that. Okay, okay. I thought it was just the Yangzing tuners that did that, but okay, yeah, well, fair enough. On its own, not a bad card. I mean, on summon, add a spell and trap from deck to your hand, have a quick synchro, no battle damage. It's not a bad card, but we'll have to see about the rest. We have Tenpai Dragon Fedora. You can only use the first effect once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, or at the start of the damage step if a monster battles, you can target a level 4 or lower fire dragon in your grave, special summon it. Okay. Your fire dragon monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. Once per turn during the battle phase, you can quick effect immediately after this synchro summon. Oh, but this one is also not a tuner. Okay. So 2 level 3 non-tuners with a quick effect to synchro in the battle phase and an on-summon effect. 10 Pride Dragon Zongdora. This one is a tuner. You can use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If you control a fire dragon, you can special summon this card from your hand. At the start of the battle, start of the damage step, if a monster battles, you can special summon a level 4 or lower dragon from your deck, except Bestowed Dragon Chandra. Once per turn, during the battle phase, you can synchro summon. Okay. I have the feeling... I have the feeling that they want you to play this deck going second, spam out these dragons, and summon a Trident Dragon in the battle phase. If you don't know, hold up. Trident Dragon is a very cool card that I've topped the YCS with Trident Dragon back in Dragon Ruler format. Trident Dragon must be synchroed and cannot be special summoned by other ways. When this card is synchro summoned, target up to 2 other cards you control. Destroy those targets, and if you do, for each destroyed card, this card gains an additional attack during each battle phase. So I think you're supposed to summon this in the battle phase, destroy some of your stuff, and attack 3 times. Or game, I suppose is the plan. Which is, I mean, I don't know how good it's going to be, but it's a freaking cool plan. I mean, this is one of the cooler synchros out there, in my opinion. I think Trident Dragon is very cool. So if them making an archetype around it, I'm here for it. Of course, most of this stuff happens in the battle phase, which is an inherent problem because you have to get there. You know, you have to build up your board before the battle phase. And so far in the main phase, they don't have that much going on. They're probably going to be stopped before you get to even do anything in the battle phase. We have Sangan, Rise Dragon, Bident Dragon. Okay, so instead of Trident Dragon, this one is Bident Dragon. Because it only has 2 heads. You can only use the first effect once per turn. You can only use the second effect once per duel. If this card is synchro summoned, you can target a fire dragon in your grave, special summon it. Also, you can't special summon it for the rest of the turn except dragons. If 3 or more attacks have been declared this turn, you can special summon this card from your grave. Then you can destroy a spell and trap on the field. Okay. So... I think you're meant to spam all 3 on the board, right? All 3 on the board. Then you can quick synchro into this. Bring one of them back. Attack with that one too. Then quick effect synchro with that into like Trident Dragon. Pop some of your cards. Attack 3 times with Trident Dragon. And then this also comes back and can attack again. It's a tuner, yeah. Well, but the level 3s are not, right? The level 3s are not tuners, so you can make Trident Dragon with this and one of the level 3s. Then we have Sangan, Super Dragon, Transcend, Dragion. All right, that's a level 10 synchro, which is odd because I thought you were supposed to summon Trident Dragon. You can only use the third effect once per duel. If this card is synchro summoned, you can change all monsters on the field to attack position. All opponent's monsters must attack if able. Also, your opponent cannot activate card effects during the battle phase. If 3 or more attacks have been declared this turn, you can special summon this card from your grave. Then you can destroy 1 card on the field. This one looks dope, but this one doesn't make that much sense to me. I'm gonna be honest with you because, I mean. The problem is that this second effect is only good on your opponent's turn. And so far, from all I've seen, like everything I've seen so far makes me want to play this deck blind second and OTK the opponent. This thing, the second effect of this card just has no effect in your own battle phase. It would be like, it would only matter in your opponent's battle phase. Changing everything to attack position is cool and all, but... I mean, if you're making this as your level 10 synchro, how are you also making Trident Dragon? Maybe that's possible, but I don't know. And also, the third effect is also not very good, I don't think. Because how do you get it to the graveyard? Like, the level 7, I understand how you get it to the graveyard. Like, you just, in the battle phase, quick synchro with it, keep attacking, and then it can immediately come back. How do you do that with a level 10 monster? Can't really do that. But okay. We have Brimming Sangan Manor. Okay, so this said Bright Fleet. What the hell is Bright Fleet then, if the spells are not called that? Is that a translation error? Are these Bright Fleet cards now? Like, is Sangan the Bright Fleet word? Is that what's going on? Translation error. Okay. So these are Bright Fleet cards. All right. So these are searchable. These are searchable by this one. Okay, I see. Okay. A field spell. Fire dragons you control are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects during your main phase 1. Okay, that's dangerous. That's freaking Misk. That's Misk, which is concerning. This is how you get to the battle phase, you know. That's I mean, that's what I said earlier. It's like that is okay. Especially if you manage to combine it with something like which is the one that says your opponent's monsters during the battle phase. Oh yeah, your opponent can't activate cards or effects during the battle phase. So if you combine these two together, they can't do anything to your shit in main phase 1. They can't do anything in the battle phase. That's ignorant. That is ignorance. During your main phase, you can add a bestowed dragon monster from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card. Okay, so once per turn Rhoda as well, at the cost of a discard. If this card is destroyed during the battle phase, you can target a dragon synchro you control. Its attack becomes doubled. Okay, so you pop this shit with Trident Dragon in your battle phase, and the Trident Dragon gets to 6k. That's funny. That's crazy. That is crazy. The Trident Dragon is 6,000 and can attack 3 times. All right, well, we're getting there, I suppose. And then we have this quick play spell. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. If this card was activated outside the battle phase, apply one of these effects. If this card was activated during the battle phase, you can apply any of them in sequence. Add a level 4 or lower Fire Dragon from your deck to your hand. Special summon a Fire Dragon from... Yeah, that card's just... Wait, what? That card's just good. Does this have any other targets? Fire Dragons? Rhoda free special. I mean, you only get the Rhoda and free special if you do it in the battle phase, just to be clear, right? You cannot do you can't do both in your main phase 1, but I mean, that still is, the card is good enough, right? Baby Ruler? Yeah, okay. I'm adding Burner in 2023 to my hand. Kitchen Dragon Maid? Okay, I mean, I guess. Good card though, for sure. I mean, good card, absolutely. Okay, what do I think of this? It's cool. I like the flavor. Trident Dragon, one of my, not my favorite synchro, but definitely up there. Like, it's very cool. I like it. I like the idea of the archetype. I am not sure if it's competitive or not. It feels like if you, like, this has to be a blind second deck, right? Like, just another blind second deck. And we already have some of those, right? We already have some of those. Some are better than others, you know, but I can't help but think there's a going second deck in Numeron, which pretty much OTKs going second off of pretty much 1 card, right? It's very straightforward. There's no fancy combos. You just like play Board Breakers and the Numeron Network, and you just Numeron Network and kill the opponent. And even that isn't really good in Yu-Gi-Oh right now, right? Even that deck is nowhere to be seen. The only deck that we have that is like close to playable as a blind second deck, or like as a OTK deck, is like Mikanko, and even Mikanko is way better at going first these days, right? I think Mikanko, I mean, most people playing Mikanko are going first with it, right? The blind second Mikanko is also nowhere to be seen. So I don't think that these cards are necessarily better than these other decks at blinding second. So I don't think this is going to be a super meta relevant archetype in that sense. It might be about the same power level as those decks, possibly. I can't really say that without seeing it in action or trying it. I can definitely see what they're trying to do. Like I see what they are trying to do. You know, I see the synergies. I see the game plan, which I think is cool. I like the flavor of these cards. They all look very cool, and so on and so forth. So like, I don't mind these cards. I think they're cool designs. I just think it's really hard to make a going second deck viable without making it completely stupidly broken. You know, like in order for me to go second on purpose, right? In order for me to win the dice roll and go second and try to OTK my opponent, my deck needs to be so stupidly ignorant, right? Like, because boards that decks make are just like very strong these days, right? And in order for you to guaranteed OTK them going second, your cards have to basically be so broken that they ignore everything your opponent does. And I don't want that to happen, you know? I don't want them to make cards that make it possible for you to pretty much OTK over every single board going second, right? Like ignoring everything your opponent does. I think it's a good thing that these cards aren't that broken. So yeah, I don't think these are broken. I don't think this is a meta like deck. And but it's cool. I like it. Can you use it as an engine to help going second, as most of them can one card combo into an OTK line? I mean, you can try it. It seems like a relatively big engine though. Since it mentions traps, I guess it gets more support. I mean, they may have just put this on here just in case they want to give them a trap card. To be honest though, it wouldn't really make sense to give this a trap, because it is a blind second deck. And it's clearly designed that way, unless you make the trap like a good... You could make a trap card that has a bonus effect if you destroy it with your own Trident Dragon. That would make sense, I guess. You know, they could make a trap that you can set and then pop with Trident, and then it does something, you know? Or discard it for the field spell. Yeah, you can discard it for the field spell, and then maybe it has a graveyard effect that's useful. I could see that, but like, you know, we'll see. We'll see where this goes. One thing I like about this is that most of these cards, like, this circles back to when we get new archetypes in the TCG. Like, I'm reading this archetype, and this is just one thing I noticed just now, is that, like, all of these cards, they make sense in the archetype, right? They have a clear game plan, and every single card here contributes to it. Which is different sometimes when we get new TCG archetypes. Like, for example, you look at the Tistina archetype, and it's like, we got 14 Tistina cards, and like, I don't know, I consider like 2 or 3 of them may be playable. The rest just doesn't even make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense to print a card like that in 2023, because they're clearly gonna be like, it's unplayable, right? And here, even with 3 main deck monsters, 2 synchros, and 2 spells, I'm seeing what they're trying to do, right? It's like, it's a cohesive strategy, right? And so that's cool, right? Even no matter if it's going to be tier 1, 2, 3, 4, it's a cohesive strategy that I can sit down and play, right? And that's cool. I think that's cool. It's a cool archetype. I can appreciate it.